55% of Gen Z and millennials say social media reviews are the top reason they try a restaurant, and 73% have visited a restaurant in the last 3 months because of one. Do you have timely reviews working for you? Quick-turn influencer review campaigns from Bell Communication can fill tables fast. Visit bellcommunication.com/influence to learn more.
Hey there, welcome to Takeaway with Sam Oches, a podcast from Nation's Restaurant News. I'm Sam Oches, editor-in-chief here at NRN, and this is the show where I give you an all-access pass to the restaurant industry's most influential decision-makers. This week, I'm talking with Scott Ball, the president of FiiZ Drinks, a specialty soda shop franchise that started in Utah in 2014 and now has more than 70 locations across the U.S. With about 150 locations in the pipeline, FiiZ is clearly capitalizing on the incredible rise in dirty soda's popularity. But the brand features a wide range of beverages, including energy drinks, soda water, hot chocolate, frozen drinks, and more, plus food items like cookies, popcorn, pretzels, and cookie dough bites. Scott joined FiiZ about a year ago after spending 17 years as the head of a Dunkin franchise, and he recently sat down with me in person at a location outside of Columbus, Ohio, to talk about the category's remarkable growth and the keys to sustaining momentum that in ways that past trends could not do. In this interview, you will learn more about why the secret ingredient to dirty soda's success is its fun factor, why non-traditional could be fuel for the ongoing beverage boom, and why the ability to innovate could make or break beverage brands. Also, remember, we are gearing up for an incredible Create event for emerging restaurateurs this October 15th through 17th in Nashville. Our agenda features leaders from companies like Kava, Din Tai Fung, Dutch Bros, Insomnia Cookies, Salt and Straw, Let Us Entertain You, and many others. Not to mention a keynote chat and performance by the Bacon Brothers, featuring none other than Kevin Bacon himself. If you are a founder or an executive of a restaurant chain with less than 100 locations, then this event is tailored specifically with you in mind. It's also free for restaurant operators to attend, so go register at create.nrn.com. Jumping now into my interview with FiiZ Drinks president Scott Ball. Also, don't forget to stick around after the interview as I will share my 5 takeaways from this discussion, actionable insights that you can take with you on the go. All right, I'm sitting down with Scott Ball, the president of FiiZ Drinks. Scott, thanks for joining me in person today.
Yeah, no, thanks, Sam. It's a pleasure to be here in beautiful Ohio. We're in Pinkerton, Ohio, in one of our local shops here, and really excited to be here today. And I'm glad that we can do this in person and get to enjoy some fabulous soda this morning.
Put that right there, FiiZ Drinks. Scott, lots to unpack today. FiiZ is just right on trend with so much of what's going on in the industry today. And I was delighted to see that you guys had a location here in Columbus, based in Salt Lake City. This brand has been around for about 11 years, I think now.
Correct.
So I want to dig into the sort of story of the brand, your history, because you're relatively new to the brand, and then kind of look into the future, what's ahead for the brand. So let's start with the beginnings. 2014, I believe this brand starts out in Utah. Tell me the story of how this brand got started.
Yeah, first store opened up in Bountiful, Utah, right outside of Salt Lake. And from there, it continued to grow. Our company actually purchased the brand about 2.5 years ago. At that time, we had about 50 locations, and we're now up to 70 locations. And since I've come on, which is now about 10, 11 months, we're really excited to take this soda concept and really, bring it all over the country. We've had a tremendous amount of response. The whole dirty soda craze has kind of taken shape, and we're really excited about it. And people are really buying into what we're doing and kind of taking that old soda concept and kind of giving it like a modern touch to it. So pretty excited about it. And I will tell you, so far this year, we've sold over 150 new units throughout the country. So we're really, really excited about that. And, a lot of our growth right now, obviously we're based in Utah. A lot of our existing business is in the Utah market. But the good news is we've now signed deals in Florida, New York, Connecticut, in the Midwest here in Ohio. We're in North Carolina. We're clearly the Midwest is a big push for us. The Southeast is a big push for us, and continuing to build out the West Coast as well. So,
I mean, soda, especially having a moment right now, the dirty soda trend, of course, this idea of adding creams and syrups and fruits to soda seems like, I mean, this was like a Utah thing, right? Utah loves its soda.
Yeah.
Tell me about why beverages has really taken hold in
Yeah,
that
you
part of
know what? Soda, yes, it started in Utah. Utah was kind of the birthplace of of mixed sodas and dirty sodas. But I will tell you, soda's fun, and what's really unique about Fizz is we're just a fun atmosphere, and we're very customer friendly. And for customers to be able to come in and actually make their own soda, your drink your way. That's kind of our tagline, and people having a lot of fun with it, and being able to come in and get a Coca Cola or a Pepsi or a Dr Pepper or a Mountain Dew and put in, different flavors and creams and purees. It's kind of created, a nice, excitement, to this category. And in addition to that, what we're really excited about as well, in addition to the sodas that we have, we've also added a whole food line as well.
Yeah.
So adding some treats and both some sweet and savory treats, whether it's in the morning or the afternoon or in the evening, we want to be able to provide, an offering for everybody.
Sure. I mean, it feels like, I mean, beverage is huge right now. I think partly because of the sort of innovation
Yeah,
opportunity. It's like there's sort of infinite combinations you
correct.
can do. But you guys do have a set menu, so you can pick what you want or customize your
Yep.
own. Walk me through the menu specifically and what you guys have on it.
Yeah, so you know what? Obviously, we have our soda line. We also we've added a water line, so we have both carbonated and regular water. We've got energy drinks. We partner with both, Monster and Red Bull, and we mix in all of our different, other flavors. We've got frozen drinks as well. We're getting ready to actually launch a frozen hot chocolate line as well. So we're excited, and you know what? Our customers are really excited about it. And to your point, there are thousands of combinations that you can put in. Right now we have over 50 different flavor shots. We have multiple creams and purees as well. And when you factor that in with all the different soda options that we offer, you can have a lot of fun. And
Sure.
it's crazy. Like people come in, morning, noon, and night. When I first came to this brand, and I was like, "Wait, you guys open at 7 o'clock in the morning?" And just like a coffee shop, people are coming in early in the morning, and they're getting their horchata drink or their Mountain Dew because they need that little pick me up. So
Yeah.
for ones that don't love coffee and they want a little, something to get their day started, this is a great opportunity to come in and do that.
No coffee on the menu.
We do not have
Yeah.
coffee. Actually, I will say some have. Yes, we don't have any hot coffee, but we're actually getting ready to roll out a line of coffee frozen beverages. So
Got
we're
it.
really, really excited about that. And to that point, R&D is a big part of what we're doing right
Sure.
now, and we're excited both on the beverage side and also on the food side.
Because this is what interests me, which is like, what is the occasion for a fizz? You guys with soda. I mean, personally, I drink soda in the afternoon or with a meal. But you open at 7. So, what do you typically find with the customer that sort of key occasion that they come in for?
Yeah, I think it depends on the customer. As you can see, we're sitting in here. It's in the morning right now in Columbus, and we've got a dining hall full of people that have
Hmm.
come through the drive-through. So I think some people come in the morning. Moms, they're coming with their kids. They're trying to get their day started. You're on your way to work. It's a great way to start your day. It's a great pick me up to start your day. Having said that, we also have people that love to come in during lunch. They'll come in during that lunchtime after school's become very popular. And as we were talking to the operator here, he was just saying to us how in this particular location, after dinner is a really, really big piece of their business. So again, they come in for a snack, come in for a sweet treat, they get a little soda. And yeah, so we're an all day brand and we're excited about that. And like I said, I was shocked that people would actually start coming in early in the morning and late at night, but those are two big day parts for us. And
Sure.
customers have totally taken to that.
But you do have some food on the menu too,
We
and
do.
this is mostly snack oriented food.
Yeah, mostly snack oriented. We have dough bites. Actually, right here we have our pretzel bites. We have different flavors of dough bites. We have cookies and cream. We have chocolate chip, and so forth. What we're really excited about as well is actually in about 10 days we're launching a whole line of cookies. We've got a chocolate chip cookie, a cookies and cream cookie, and a sugar cookie. So really, really excited about that. Our testing on that did really, really well, and we're also getting ready to launch what we call our Fizz Puffs, kind of like a small little pastry, donut hole beignet kind of a concept that is stuffed with cookie batter or so forth, and it's gone really well. So we're
Yeah.
really excited. Our test partners did very, very well, and literally our launch is August 1st for those products. So we're
Okay.
excited about it.
So it seems like the non-traditional day part is probably your strength here because,
Correct.
you think about if I'm going to a restaurant for a meal, traditional meal, and I get the soda there, but if I'm coming to Fizz it's very likely I'm not looking for a whole meal. I
Correct.
want the after lunch snack, the after dinner snack, pre lunch. And so it seems like you guys sort of color into a lot of the day parts where other restaurants are soft.
Yes.
Do you see that as one of your
No,
strengths?
absolutely. Listen, we're not your traditional breakfast. We're not your traditional lunch or dinner concept. To your point, we're in between, right?
Mhm.
So we're that snack. We're that, let's come in for a pick me up. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon and I just need a little something to help me get through the rest of the day. That's what FiiZ is about.
Yeah.
And again, our customers are, they love it, and they love our concept and they love the fact that they can customize. And to the point earlier, we do have a menu. We have a whole menu of different, pre-made, opportunities. But believe it or not, 80% of our drinks are actually customized.
Interesting.
And again, that's I think what appeals to customers is they can come in and they can try different things. One day they may have a Dr. Pepper based drink. The next day it could be a Pepsi based drink or a Mountain Dew drink. And I think that's the appeal.
Yeah.
People want to have fun, experiment, and enjoy that opportunity.
Seems too like there's a good opportunity here for the repeat business, the frequent customer. Because if I think, I came in here and I asked, what's the number one seller?
Yeah,
Because I'm intimidated by customizing my own beverage.
yeah,
If I come here 2 or 3 times, though, I start to understand what I like. So it seems like, especially with so many options on a menu like at FiiZ, people might think to themselves, well, I'm going to play around with it. I got to go in and check out
yeah.
this combination, and then they become confident in knowing what they want. But how much of this is education? How much do your operators need to educate on that?
Yeah, I mean, education is a big part, especially as we've moved outside of Utah. So people in Utah, obviously, they grew up with the soda world, right? They
Mhm.
grew up in the soda business. As we've now opened up and expanded into newer markets, it's really we have to educate our consumers to let them know, hey, what is this? What is a soda shop? So a lot of our marketing, a lot of our PR has really focused on getting people to come in, understand our menu, let them know that this is customizable. You don't have to necessarily pick what's on our menu, but
Mhm.
we want you to, explore and experiment and, and enjoy it and have fun with it. But yeah, and what's really exciting also is as we've now opened up in many markets outside of Utah, those are some of our fastest growing and highest growing, locations. So
Mhm.
we're excited about that. And people are clearly, understanding what we're all about. And again, in this business, you've got to be able to provide good quality product and a great environment. And that's what we are. And that's FiiZ, as I said earlier, we're a fun environment. We want
Yeah.
people to come in, we want them to enjoy themselves, have some great drinks, have some great food options, and really and continue to come back. And again, with beverage, it's about frequency, right?
Yeah.
So we know that, people won't go into a traditional QSR, food every day, but with beverage, it's kind of a routine, it's kind of a ritual. And so our customers do come in, multiple times a week. And
Yeah.
some customers come in literally every day.
Mhm.
And that's it. And it kind of takes off a little bit off of the coffee world. Same thing with coffee, right? People come in, it's kind of part of their routine. And that's what we're trying to do with FiiZ. So we
Sure.
want people to come in and make soda part of their routine.
You mentioned experience of it, and we're sitting inside a restaurant in a dining room, but some of your competitors drive through only. Do you guys emphasize drive through? Do you have a lot of dining rooms? What's the mix on that?
Yeah, so it's a great question. The world's kind of changed since the pandemic, right? So I think back, 5, 10 years ago, everybody was building restaurants, really building, big dining rooms and lobby areas and so forth. And the world's changed, people want more convenience and people want more of the drive-through. So yes, so most of our stores are all most of them are drive-through. Typically with the drive-through, about 80, 85% of our business does come through the drive-through. So as we're looking at the next, iteration of, FiiZ moving forward into the future, the dining rooms are actually going to be smaller. We are going to be focusing on more on the drive-through.
Okay.
But having said that, we recognize that we want our customers to have the option, right? So they will have the option to come in. We do also have some mall locations. We
Mm.
also have some, walk-up locations because clearly in some communities drive-throughs are not available. We recognize that.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's an option everywhere. And listen, as we continue to grow this brand and as we go into other markets and other communities, things are different, right?
Mhm.
So we want to be able to cater to that clientele. But generally speaking, listen, all the brands out there, we're all looking for the same real estate, right?
Right.
So we've got to kind of figure out, what's our sweet spot, what works for us.
Sure.
And right now, having 1,000 to 1,200 square foot location really, really is our sweet spot, and that's what makes it work for us.
Well, it's interesting. This is an interesting moment, a very good moment for a brand such as FiiZ because, we're here in Ohio. I can't think, I don't, none of your competitors are here yet,
Yep,
to my knowledge. Point is that this type of soda brand is very West Coast at the moment,
correct,
coming east. But to that point, there's all this white space on the east that everybody's kind of chasing.
correct.
So it seems like there's a lot of opportunity, but I guess to take a step back, is the whole system franchised?
Yeah, so we're basically a franchise system. Out of ours, we have two corporate stores right now, and that we use that as an opportunity to do our product development, do some testing, technology initiatives, operation initiatives. So we have two corporate, and everything else is franchise. So
Gotcha.
all of our markets moving into, we're partnering with franchisees that want to be part of the FiiZ brand and be part of our business model and so forth. Yeah.
Because I have to imagine because so I was recently at the National Restaurant Association
Yep.
show, and the Coke booth, the Pepsi booth, and the Keurig Dr Pepper booth
Yep.
all emphasize dirty soda.
Yeah.
This is no best kept secret anymore. This is
Correct.
a mainstream trend. So I have to imagine you have potential franchisees up and down the East Coast licking their chops,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
how are you guys taking advantage of this moment?
We are very busy.
Yeah.
Our franchise development team is very, very busy. And as I just said, in the last few months, like we've signed deals in Florida, we've signed deals in New York, North Carolina, Connecticut, the whole Northeast, the Midwest. We get it. People are jumping on this. And by the way, in addition to our product being terrific and all that, it's a really good business model. Being in the beverage world, the margins are very good. So from a business standpoint, it makes sense to do it. It's a relatively low cost of entry as far as QSR and food service. So there's an appeal to that. And, one of the things that we're doing a little bit differently now also as a brand is, we're not, well, going into markets, we're not just opening up one or two locations. Our developers now, our franchisees are required to do a minimum of 5 locations. And that's what we're trying to work with, people that have experience in this field, understand what it's like to be in the restaurant world, and to be successful. And
Yeah.
so that's kind of the process, and that's the strategic approach that we're taking right now. And so far, it's great. The opportunity is there, and to your point, we've got plenty of space available. There's plenty of white space available for soda shops, and we're taking advantage of it.
Yeah. Well, and I should mention you have a long history in franchising. You spent several
Correct.
years with Dunkin'. Spent a lot of the last several years prior to FiiZ in a franchise group. Tell me about your experience that you bring to FiiZ, how you're utilizing that at the company.
Yeah, listen, I'll tell you, I've worked on the franchisor side and I've been a franchisee as well. And I'll tell you, I'm a franchisee at heart. So, one of the things when I came on to FiiZ is, I wanted them to understand, hey, I'm here for you.
Mhm.
Our success as a brand is based on the success of you guys at the store level. So, yeah, so bringing in these franchisees is really, really important. I've been involved in this business for 25, 30 years. I started my career with Arby's, the company that owned Arby's and TJ Cinnamons. I've worked on the brand side. Then I became a franchisee of Dunkin' Donuts. And I started off with 2 locations. And over the course of 15 plus years, built it up to over 20 locations. Also spent time on the Dunkin' Brand Advisory Council, where I was one of the leaders of the brand, representing the Southeast. And, got to be part of the strategic planning, product innovation, marketing, ops initiatives, and all that. And that's really kind of helped me understand and having an understanding of both sides of it,
Yeah.
I think is really, really important. But I tell my franchisees all the time, I'm on your side, guys. Like I'm here to help you grow your business. My
Right.
job is to help grow revenue and lower your costs, right? At the end of the day. And your job is to run it. So finding those right franchise partners is really, really crucial, to our success.
Mhm.
And we're doing that. And people are excited about our brand, and I think they're excited about the business model. And I'm excited to be able to take my experiences and what I've learned over the years. And again, coming from Dunkin' and coming from part of the beverage world,
Mhm.
this kind of fits right in. And I think it's great. And beverages are fun, and this is a fun brand, and we want to continue to, we want to send that message out, across the country.
Sure. Well, it's so funny for you to have been with Duncan and to see, coffee, of course, was king as far as like beverage concepts
Yeah,
go. You had Dunkin', you had Starbucks.
yeah,
Then you get this wave of Dutch Bros, Seven
yep.
Brew Now, Big B that do the drive-through coffee. And here is this next wave, Fizz, of course, your competitors at Swig. And it's such a fascinating thing that you must be watching beverage just evolve and grow. I'm curious, what was the catalyst for so many more people deciding that they wanted to expand beyond simple drip coffee or a simple Diet Coke?
It's real funny. I'll start off by saying people used to say to me, "What's the best thing that ever happened at Dunkin' Donuts?" And I said it was Starbucks.
Yeah.
Why? Because Starbucks made coffee cool,
Hmm.
right? And it's the same thing, competition's a good thing. Like people say, "Oh, well, we have competitors and this and that. Is that good or bad?" I said, "No, it's great. It just means that there's there's an opportunity in this market. And soda has become, it's been around a long time, but the soda craze has kind of definitely jumped up on the radar over the last few years.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing. And to your point, you've talked to Coke and Pepsi and Keurig Dr. Pepper, and they're seeing, dirty sodas, being able to customize your soda. That's a thing now. And I think it's here to stay. And I think, anytime you can customize a drink and a beverage, I think people get excited about that.
Yeah.
And our customers are, they're excited about that. So,
Yeah. I talked to somebody recently who was theorizing sort of the role that COVID had to play in all
mhm,
this, where everybody was in their houses and then they just craved that, like, I got to go treat myself this
yep.
afternoon. And for a lot of people, that became a beverage. Because if it wasn't in a traditional mealtime, well, I'm gonna go get a coffee or whatever. I mean, did that track? Like, did COVID actually help FiiZ? I know you weren't here at the business then, but looking back, do you think that was
What I think COVID did was, traditionally in restaurants and QSR and in fast casual, there were these day parts. They're gone.
yeah,
There's no day parts anymore. I think it's just about what is convenient for the individual customer, right? Some people are working at different hours. The traditional 9 to 5, that just doesn't exist anymore. There are people that are in jobs that are working in the evenings or they're working early mornings. So having the ability to come to a place like Biz and get, your beverage of choice at any time of the day, I think is a big thing. So I think COVID had a big part of that. Like I said earlier, the pandemic changed things. It changed consumer behavior. And that doesn't happen very often, but that was a very big, change in our business. The other thing was, third party platforms, the DoorDashes and Uber Eats, they didn't exist 5 or 10 years ago or minimally.
right,
Now it's a big part of what we do. And just even this past year or so, we've really started to focus on DoorDash and Uber Eats and so forth and those type of partners. Because again, consumers want convenience. A lot of them are working from home now.
right,
They don't have an opportunity to go out and take 20, 30 minutes and go out and purchase some food or beverage. But they can go on their app, they can go on their phone, and while they're working, they can get on DoorDash and, FiiZ can be delivered to your door in 20 minutes.
sure.
So that's been a big change as well.
Tell me about innovation, because again, looking across the competition right now, it's getting pretty stiff, especially in these coffee players. But the coffee guys are adding energy drinks, they're
Yep.
adding boba. They've got a wide range of beverage platforms. How does that put pressure on FiiZ in your innovation? What are you looking to as far as expanding what you offer?
Yeah, so it's a big part. And to be honest, when I came on, we really weren't doing a lot of product innovation. And that was one of the first things I said, look, guys, we've got to be in this space, right? So it's not just about our core menu. We've got to be able to continue to drive traffic, continue to drive revenue. Development, product innovation is a big part of that. So one of the advantages for us is we really weren't much into the food world, into the food side. So that's a big focus of what we do now. And as I mentioned earlier, we've got a whole line of cookies that we're rolling out in the next couple of weeks. We've got our FiiZ Puffs, that are coming out. We've actually just recently tested some muffins. We are looking at some other items, some croissant items. We're looking at, some of our franchisees to say, hey, listen, can you come up with like a breakfast item that we can sell? We're open at 7 a.m. Hey, what can we do that somebody can come into us, get a soda, and maybe walk out with a breakfast burrito or something like that? So these are the types of things that we're working on and we're testing right now.
Yeah.
Testing takes time and we want to do it right. And everything that we do from a testing is all based on data and research and consumer response and so forth. So we're taking our time. We clearly are fast tracking it a little bit, and we have, but we want to make sure we do it right. And we want to be 12 months out on our innovation calendar,
Yeah.
and we're working towards that. But it's a big part of what we do, and we have to do that. And by the way, drinks as well. As a matter of fact, right now we're running 2 LTOs. First LTOs that we've ever done as a brand.
Hmm.
We've got this horchata drink that we've got. We've also got a pina colada frozen beverage as well. And that's the kind of stuff that's going to help, drive traffic, keep our customers excited, and so forth. But
Yeah.
innovation's a big part of what we do, and we recognize that. And like I said, I've got a pipeline right now that, over the next 12 to 24 months, we're gonna be shaking it up pretty cool, pretty
Yeah.
big. So we're excited.
We talked about that kind of occasion of a typical FiiZ customer, but thinking about who that typical FiiZ customer is and how that determines where your franchisees locate their shops. Because I have to imagine if you put one of these near a school,
Mhm.
like a high school, you'd crush,
Yeah.
right? Like, how much does that factor into the decision making for where you can locate FiiZ?
Yeah. So listen, our demographic, we skew, young, we skew female,
Hmm.
and families are a big part of our customer base. So yes, being by schools is very important. As a matter of fact, we're sitting in Pickerington right now. There's a high school literally right across the
That's right.
street.
Yeah.
So and as they told me, every day between 11 and 1, this place gets jammed, with students that come in for, for drinks and snacks and food and so forth. So yeah, that's a big part of it. Listen, you want to be in residential communities typically, but again, a lot of it's dictated by the real estate, right? You got to make sure that you can get that drive through. You want to be on Main and Main if you can. You want that visibility from the street. You want to make sure you're on the right side of the road. So those are all factors that go into, as you're developing stores and so forth. And listen, real estate's gotten tough in this country.
Yeah.
It's a challenge, and there's a whole bunch of us all buying for the same thing. So, and we're coming up with ideas on how to do that. As a matter of fact, we just recently partnered with Walmart.
Mm.
So we're actually going to be working with Walmart. As you know, Walmart's got thousands of units here in the U.S. and they've got a lot of retail space in their front. So
Yeah.
they're now starting to turn over some of their second and third generation spaces. They've come to us, hey, listen, we love your concept. I've got 500, 800 square feet of space, let's do this. So we've actually put together a program. We're out there with our developers and franchisees right now. We've already signed on a few deals. So
Mm.
we're excited. So
Yeah.
Walmart's a big player. Listen, they've got a targeted audience, right? They got, thousands of people that come through the stores every day. Little bit of a different model, but again, we've got to be innovative in how do we get to our customers, right?
Yeah.
And that's an example of how we're doing that.
That's fascinating because, like, I think about Walmart, Subway. There's a lot of Subways and Walmarts, for
Yep.
example, and I think to myself, when's the occasion that I'm ever going for those two businesses together? Versus if I get to Walmart and I want to drink while I shop,
Yeah.
like that's kind of the perfect combination right
So
there. It's a
yeah,
captive audience. I
yeah,
guess.
that's exactly how we thought about it. When they approached us about it. We're like, you know what? It actually makes sense.
Yeah.
To be able to come in, grab your cart. We're right in the front. Grab your drink as you're, yeah. I think the average Walmart customer is spending 20 to 45 minutes in that location. That's a great opportunity for
Right.
them to
Yeah.
do that. So yeah,
So you mentioned malls too. I mean, airports. Are you looking at all this other non-traditional type?
absolutely. So malls is something we've recently got into. And by the way, we just signed a deal in Canada. We're actually the first soda concept to go to Canada.
Okay.
We partnered with a group up there. The first store just opened up. We opened up in a mall there outside of Toronto, Dufferin Mall.
Mm-hmm.
But we understand that the mall concept is something. Listen, the malls in the US are a little bit different.
Yeah.
It's I can say it's a dying breed, but it's a changing breed, right? But having said that, there are some still very successful malls out there. We actually just signed a deal in a mall with one of our franchise partners in Colorado.
Mm.
So they're going to be going into a mall. So listen, it's a great cost of entry. It's a low cost of entry to go into a mall. They're not big spaces, a couple hundred square feet. We just did a mall, like I said, in Canada. We pumped in our full menu into 200 square feet.
Mm.
So we're able to value engineer that to get that in that space. And the hope is that we're going to be successful in that space.
Sure.
So yeah, so that's just another opportunity for us to. And there are non-traditionals. We're actually in Salt Lake City. We're in the RSL soccer stadium
Mm.
where the MLS Utah club plays, and we're inside there, and
Yeah.
that does very well. Listen, when there's a game going on and that stadium is busy with 25,000 plus people, those days do very, very well. So we're looking at that as well, and we understand there's a lot of these non-traditional. The other piece I'll just mention real quick is we're actually looking to get into modular.
Mm.
So we understand that because real estate is tight. If I can if I can have a modular 600 or 700 square foot unit that I can just plop on a piece of dirt, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's something we're working on right now. And our franchisees are excited about that because they all recognize some of the limitations there are in some of these bigger markets with real estate.
Yeah.
But having the ability to find some dirt or find some land and just drop a building on makes a lot of sense as well.
Beverage category is fascinating though too, because to me it seems like, if you had a fast casual salad concept, let's say, you can't put that in every community in America.
Correct.
There are plenty of towns that'll say, no, thank you.
Yeah.
That's not really our vibe. Soda is not the case.
Yep.
You literally put that into anything. I'm guessing 5,000 person town, it's 5,000 soda drinkers, very likely. So when you think about this modular idea, every town in America has parking lots.
Right.
You just pop these in. So it just seems like the ease of operation opens so many doors for you.
Listen, if I can go into a community and there's even a Walmart or a big retail center and there's a pad out front that's just sitting there empty,
Mm-hmm.
that's just a great opportunity to do that. And I think it's gonna be moving forward. I think those opportunities are gonna be greater than some of our traditional end cap drive-throughs that we're so accustomed to. especially in some of these markets that are developed already. I mean, there's not, you go up, especially in the Northeast or in the Midwest. I mean, these communities are they're pretty built up. There's not a lot of necessarily new construction and new development going on.
Yeah.
However, there are some other markets that, there is some development going on. So definitely want to take advantage of that. But we recognize there's some of these more developed markets. So we got to be a little bit creative on, how we get our brand out there.
Right. All right. So I've been covering this industry for 16 years and I've seen a lot of trends come and go.
Yep.
The one I go to, and I don't mean to beat it up, but poke is an easy one to
Yep.
look at to say it was all the rage for a few years. Grew across America and then just kind of settled down into a niche. So my colleagues and I have been talking about is this soda thing for real? Is this going to sustain the momentum it currently has? Now, of course, when you have a country of 300 million people, probably 90% of whom are soda drinkers versus something like poke, where you have probably 10% of them are
Yep.
poke, your chances are way better. But I'm curious from your perspective, what can FiiZ do to keep this momentum going? Like, what is it going to be that helps a soda fountain concept kind of dig in roots and become sustainable?
Yeah, I saw a couple of things. Number one, it's about innovation, like
Mm.
we talked about earlier. We got to continue to innovate and give things that our customers, want. The other thing is we're really lucky in that we get to partner with three of the largest consumer companies in the world in Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and current Dr. Pepper, right? And one of the things is going off of the research and the work that they do. And by the way, like for example, this horchata drink,
Mm.
we developed this directly with the Pepsi R&D team. We work together collaboratively to kind of come up with these items, the pina colada drink as well. So having their knowledge base and having their data and their research is vital to what we do.
Yeah.
The good news is when you talk to all of these, partners, soda consumption is actually growing in this country.
Mhm.
And even though, there is a little bit of a health craze out there and people that, but what's really unique is we do offer, sugar-free options. We do offer, if you don't want a Sprite and you want, Sprite Zero, that's an option for you. So we're really building our menu. We're building everything we do is based on data and research. And the good news is that the trends are actually moving in a positive direction. Soda's not going away, you know, but at the same time, the energy category is growing. It's the frozen category is growing. The water category is growing. You're seeing all these water companies pop up and, whether they're probiotic or, this or that, there's so many opportunities to continue to grow, the beverage world. And our hope is to be in the forefront of that.
Yeah.
We want to be able to, what's doing well, we want to be able to, be part of that and continue to drive business that way.
It seems like non-alcoholic beverage in particular is really exploding,
It
and
is.
that's finding all these little channels and rivulets into which
Yes.
it's going. And the more that people say, I'm going to quit alcohol, I'm going to look at non-alcohol,
Yep.
the more interesting options they need.
Yep.
And so you guys have the opportunity to kind of capitalize on that. What are the big picture trends you're looking at right now?
Yeah, energy drinks a big one.
Mhm.
We're pretty excited about what's coming and where we're at with energy. We've got some new energy drinks that we're actually working on right now. Again, partnering with Pepsi, Coke, and Dr. Pepper. Frozen's another big category. It's just a big category. And I mentioned earlier how we're not in the hot coffee business, but we really believe we've got an opportunity to offer some coffee flavored frozen beverages.
Yeah.
Coffee's still a big part, but it's interesting. Even in the coffee world, if you look at the data and the research, and these brands will tell you, hot coffee is being surpassed by cold coffee and frozen coffee.
Totally.
So why aren't we on that?
Yeah.
Being in the hot coffee business is unique, but I think we have the right, and I think we have the ability to be in the frozen, or the cold coffee business as well. So
Yeah. I don't know if this number is correct. I have to double check, but I remember it was in this vicinity. I believe Starbucks said 70% of their beverage orders are cold coffee,
yes,
even in the winter,
yes.
which
And-
blows my mind.
Yes, and it's funny because we were having this conversation here in Ohio this morning with the operator, and he's like, "Winter doesn't matter here. We sell just as much frozen in the winter and cold than we do, in the summer." And that's kind of a misnomer, I think. People just assume, "Oh, cold weather clients, who's going to drink, cold drinks?" The reality of it is, Starbucks, Dunkin, Dutch Bros, they're all selling frozen now all year round, and
Yeah.
and we want to be part of that. And we're really starting to expand our frozen line as well.
Sure.
And I think we're excited about that. Yeah.
Scott, last question for you.
Yeah.
What's your pitch to potential franchisees as everybody looks from the outside at the beverage category today and people who are deciding, yeah, I want to partner, I want to be a part of this.
Yeah.
Why FiiZ?
You know what? We think we have great products. We have great recipes. I think we've created a really cool, fun concept. But in addition to that, we've really created a business model that makes sense. If you're a multi-store operator and you want to get into the beverage world, you want to get into the soda world, we think we've got that. We think we've got the model that works, and in addition, we've got the space that works. We're not a huge brand yet. We're only at 70 units. We're going to be at 500 over the next few years. So there's plenty of opportunity and space in this country, especially in the Midwest, Southeast, and Northeast. So listen, if you're interested, come on out. Check us out at FiiZDrinks.com. Put some information in there. Our franchise development team will reach out to you guys, and there's definitely an opportunity, and we're excited to partner with you.
It's great. Scott Ball of FiiZ Drinks. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Sam. Thank you so much, man.
That was my interview with FiiZ Drinks president Scott Ball. So what should you learn from this interview? Here are my 5 takeaways. My first takeaway is that the secret ingredient to dirty soda's success is the fun factor. If you are looking all around you and saying, what is dirty soda? I don't understand what is going on here. Then let me educate you really quick. FiiZ was actually the first dirty soda shop that I have been to. Being on the East Coast, Swig is not yet here on the East Coast. So I have not had an opportunity yet to visit Swig, which is, of course, the one that coined the term dirty soda and I think has been the most preeminent of the dirty soda chains. So I was very excited to get to FiiZ to finally check this out. I'd had some dirty sodas at other brands, but this was my first genuine, I felt like, dirty soda experience. And it is very fun. It is not only that you have a bunch of flavors that you've really never even thought of before, but you do have an opportunity to customize and build something that is uniquely you. And then, of course, you have the ability to come in on future visits and try something else. You iterate on it every single time you come in. Scott says that's the key to FiiZ's success, is that it is fun. They're trying to lean into the fun factor that when you come into a FiiZ, you can go to town, customize your own beverage, have some fun, experiment. And that in all of their innovation, they're continuing to find more and more ways to elevate that fun factor. I think that's where dirty soda can really stand out, as opposed to past trends. And, I get to it in a bit, but I talked to Scott about trends like, for example, poke or fast casual pizza, these categories that seized the industry's attention, built a ton of momentum, and eventually kind of petered out. Why won't dirty soda do that? I think it's because the best opportunity it has in front of it is to be fun, fresh, different, and keep iterating so that customers want to come in again and again. My second takeaway is that the beverage category is an all-day opportunity. This is another factor that I think is going to sustain a concept like FiiZ, which is that, as Scott said, they open at 7 in the morning and they go till after dinner. It is an all-day sales opportunity. Now, yes, he said they traditionally fill those non-traditional day parts especially well, that between breakfast and lunch, between lunch and dinner, that's when they get a lot of their sales as those kind of snack pick-me-up occasions. But, as he pointed out, they're going to bring on a frozen coffee line to satisfy more of that morning day part, and they're going to look more into potential food items to serve at breakfast. They're also going to look at how they can sell more drinks at late night, for example, with hot chocolate or other sweet, more dessert style drinks. The point is as you watch all of this beverage activity going on around the restaurant industry, from the coffee drive-through chains to what McDonald's is doing with its Cosmics line that it developed, to smoothie chains, to, yes, dirty soda, I think all of them are going to find that same mentality of, we can serve drinks from morning to night, and you can serve unique drinks to every day part. There are a lot of occasions that you can serve, and you can satisfy a lot of cravings that customers have. That is a big, big reason why this category is red hot. My third takeaway is that menu customization is not dead. Look, 10 years ago, customization was everything, but that was really in the food side of the business. When you looked at fast casual, you especially saw a lot of folks trying to be the Chipotle of this, that, or the other thing. They wanted to be that, design your own bowl or pizza or whatever it was. And again, that was a trend that I think hasn't gone anywhere. It's still around. It just doesn't have the same kind of attention and momentum that it once had. But customization, again, is not dead, and I think it is especially alive and well in beverage. This is where dirty soda thrives. As I mentioned earlier, dirty soda is fun because you can build whatever you want. You can pick all sorts of ingredients, make your own concoction, and that is very fun, and you can experiment with it and see what you like. Scott said, they have signature beverages, of which I tried a few while I was there at FiiZ. And, he said still, even with signature beverages on their menu, 80% of customers customize their beverage. That just shows you how much fun customers are having with this, how much opportunity there still is in customization. And I think that is especially going to be true of this booming beverage category. My fourth takeaway, speaking of the beverage boom, non-traditional could be the fuel for the ongoing beverage boom. What I mean by that is, Scott mentioned this deal they have with Walmart where they're talking to Walmart about putting some FiiZ Drinks locations into Walmart. I think that's an incredible idea because if you think about going into Walmart and you're going shopping, well, you want to have maybe a drink in one hand while you do that. When you have a restaurant, I mentioned this in the interview, but when you have a restaurant like a Subway that, for example, was doing so well with Walmart's once upon a time, you're not walking around with a sandwich in your hand, eating and shopping. I mean, maybe some people are, but certainly wasn't a thing I would ever think to do. A drink is another story because not only could you possibly have a cup holder in your shopping cart, or you could just easily hold the drink in one hand and sip at it as you shopped. It seems like that's a great opportunity. Now, blow that out to other non-traditional locations. Scott mentioned malls, of course, stadiums where FiiZ already is. But think about airports. There is a untapped potential in the non-traditional real estate category where you can imagine a lot of beverage brands sliding in next to the traditional coffee chains and saying, hey, yeah, you had coffee, but now you can have a dirty soda. You can have an energy drink. You can have all these other beverages. So watch for non-traditional to become really, really busy with beverage chains. My fifth and final takeaway is that the ability to innovate could make or break beverage brands. Again, going back to, as I mentioned at the top of my takeaways, I mentioned that there is going to be pressure for beverage chains, especially dirty soda, I think, to continue this momentum, to sustain this excitement. Because the thing is I've seen so many trends come and go. Poke was one I mentioned that has settled into a niche, but the excitement, isn't quite the same as it was when it first came out. Fast casual pizza, Better Burger, Froyo, you name it. There has been a trend that pops, gets a lot of attention, grows very quickly, and then kind of comes back down to earth. And I think the pressure for beverage chains, whether it's dirty soda, whether it's drive-through coffee, whether it's smoothie, whatever, the pressure here is going to be on innovation. Scott said it multiple times in this interview, and how they want to differentiate, how they want to push forward is going to be through innovation. Now, they've got this great plan for doing that. He mentioned the 12-month product calendar. He mentioned using all this data and research that they learn what the trends are, and they are making very smart decisions with their innovation. But I suspect, we're going to start to see the field separate, where you're going to have the winners and losers, and it's going to be the winners who are doing a lot of that innovation, adding new beverage platforms, potentially adding food, as FiiZ clearly is doing, and chasing that excitement, that fun factor by constantly giving customers something that they are excited about checking out. That's going to be, I think, where we start to see the field perhaps thin as those winners, those ones who can innovate properly, really start to take off. Those are all my takeaways for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please remember to subscribe to Takeaway wherever you listen to podcasts and leave your feedback. You can also email me at sam.oches@informa.com. Thanks again, and talk to you next week.
55% of Gen Z and millennials say social media reviews are the top reason they try a restaurant, and 73% have visited a restaurant in the last 3 months because of one. Do you have timely reviews working for you? Quick-turn influencer review campaigns from Bell Communication can fill tables fast. Visit bellcommunication.com/influence to learn more.